So, John, how have you been, mate? Okay?
Yeah, all good, pal. Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, good, man. So, before we get stuck into your rugby story, mate, where was home for you as a kid and who lived at home with you?
Grew up mainly Stockton Heath and Warrington, just with my mum and dad. My
Posh.
sister. Yeah, posh end of Warrington, yeah.
So, how did you get introduced to rugby and where was it that you first went, John?
I wanted to play football as a kid. My dad was a football. I played football. He's from Manchester, my dad. I thought I was going football training. He took me down Rylands and I was crying because it was rugby and not football. But took to it like a duck to water.
Yeah. So where did you play football at Rylands, mate? Yeah.
No, not football. He took me down. I thought it was football, but it was rugby. About six. I was about 6 years of age.
Yeah. That was nice of him, wasn't it?
Yeah. 3 minute deep end.
So do you remember much about them early days? Like, did you play like touchline to touchline rather than post to post or out like that?
No, it was. I remember because you used to set up, you'd mark out the pitches, and then they'd put plastic posts up, and then if you scored, you got to take the conversion yourself, right? Yeah. There's none of that anymore. Yeah. My nephew plays now, and I've been watching a couple of times. I hate it. It's not for me.
No, you're not a spectator, John.
No.
So, what was your junior school like? Was rugby part of junior school for you, or?
Yeah. I went to Stockton Heath Primary School. They played rugby league there. I think back in them days, like, he didn't really play rugby until like he was in the last year or the last 2 years, but they let me play from year 3. So I was playing against like older lads like year 5 and 6. Which
you jumped that, mate, innit?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So that's how it was.
So, was you in and around the vision of town team selectors quite early then, mate, considering you were playing like 3 years above yourself?
Yeah, so I went to town team trials at year 4. Obviously never got in, and then I played the year. I went the year after I got in when I was in year 5. I think 4 of us played a year above ourselves. Leigh Mitchell was one. That year was like the last year schoolboys before it. We used to play full pitch then, and then the year that was my age, they brought it in like 20 metres. We played mod rules like. But yeah.
And what do you remember about the selection process, mate? Was it the school that sent you or Rylands?
No, school. We went to Vicky Park in Warrington, red hot summer's day. You all sat in the changing rooms, like, all from different schools. And they make you put these kits on that are dead old and that itch you. And you got told at the end of you'd have like, say, 20-minute games. And I was a bit like, a bit quiet, I suppose. Yeah, I didn't get selected. I was really young. Probably just didn't get involved enough. But yeah, we got told then after whether he made it or not, and that was it, yeah.
Was it just a one trial, mate, yeah?
Yeah, I think it was, yeah. There was like a few different games over the day, but pretty sure it was one trial, yeah.
Right, and what was the sort of standard you were playing at club level like?
Yeah, it was so I started Rylands and then we did 2 years there. And Rylands had loads of kids, so it sort of broke off into 2 teams. I wanted to play for the other team that I was in. Anyway, it turned out the team that I wanted to play for, they left and they formed Latchford then. But in the meantime, I'd gone to Woolston.
Okay.
But yeah, we was getting finals at North East County finals and that every year. Whoever was playing for, whether it be Rylands, Woolston or Latchford later on.
Right, mate. And was you beginning to get noticed by like clubs that you were playing against, or were you playing Premier if you're making finals, or was it clubs like Blackbrook, Pats.
Yeah, Blackbrook, Pats, Oldham St Anne's, trying to Kyle Eastman, Old St Anne's, Steve Tyler at Blackbrook, Sam Tompkins at Pats. We had like a good side though at Latchford, really. We had Mike Cooper, Lee Mitchell. We had a really good side. And Rylands on the other hand, they had half of Warrington and we had the other half of Warrington playing for us.
Right, and you mentioned then you're probably a little bit shy when you first went to the trials because you were a young kid, mate, weren't you? So what were you like in the environment growing up? Was it difficult for you or was rugby just rugby?
Rugby was rugby, but I wouldn't say I'm shy, but sometimes I do find it difficult to, it builds up in my head more than anything. I get worried about nothing and then, but no, it was fine, really.
Yeah. I suppose it's not something you think of as a kid, mate. You just rock up, throw your boots on and play, don't you?
I probably only got sent anyway, just for because I would never get in. Obviously, at that young age, it was probably just building me for like the year after, so I knew what was to come and stuff. I'd imagine.
Right, no, that's fair enough, mate. And what was the transition like into high school for you? Did rugby help with that? Do you think?
Yeah, but because our schoolboys, we went unbeaten for Warrington, so we were a really good side. We went on to that scholarship at Beaumont, but I got told actually not too long ago.
Blythe told me about Beaumont.
Yeah. So what I got told the other week was there was irons in the fire for a scholarship. But it was for a few years a bit later down the line. But because Warrington had this squad that went unbeaten, beat everyone, Wigan, Saints, they sort of rushed it through. So I was obviously on the side of Warrington, but we was going to go to Australia in year 7. So that was like, I want to go. And then that never materialised. That sort of never really materialised. So. But then we was on that scholarship, training before school and that, and only half the lads really signed up to it. And then we was put on another scholarship for Warrington as well. So we was like training every day, and then we were trying to train for Latchford, on a Wednesday and a Saturday, and then playing. We didn't have a day off, and Warrington are trying to coach in a certain way, it took a lot of the enjoyment away from me. Went a bit stale, and it was a grind more than anything sometimes. And your mates are going out playing and what have you. And I'm in school before school, training and probably training after it as well.
Well, it's a bit heavy, like you said. It's a bit heavy duty for the kid, mate. You're still meant to enjoy life, aren't you? And much as it starts getting serious as you get a bit older, because it's more about winning, then you're still at that age where you should just let you be a kid as well.
Yeah.
So did you stay at Beaumont then, Jono?
So I did 2 years, and then I think my mum tried to get me out of there for about a year, maybe 18 months, and get me to Bridgwater where I was originally meant to go. But it was like full, so I had to appeal a couple of times, and eventually I got in. I was having to get like a minibus pick us up for school and what have you. It was like, because I was furthest away, I was getting picked up first, dropped off last, and it was just shit, really. Didn't really enjoy it.
No, nightmare for a kid, isn't it?
Yeah. And,
no.
Yeah,
so I don't know how many witness lads knew about that, because when I spoke to, so Matty Blythe went, Matty mentioned it, and Sam Tompkins was aware that they were like quite an elite school, weren't they? But they picked all the best kids early. Yeah, well, it just sounds a bit serious.
Well, I've listened to both Sam and Matty's when I was on holiday the other week, and Sam mentioned about we getting special treatment, having a computer and all that. We did get a computer, but my mum and dad had to pay for it, I think, so it wasn't a freebie. But I do remember we played John Fisher in the year 7, and he let the whole year out to watch the game. Like, got beat.
Right.
But then, like I said, it was only like half the lads that went through the schoolboys, so I think the other half didn't take the offer up. And they ended up on another scholarship anyway, you know. So it was just I didn't really enjoy it, if I'm quite honest.
No, it sounds like you've sort of like called your bluff a little bit, done it, and said this is like the dream for a kid. So half of you have took the offer, and then the scholarship would have been there eventually anyway if your talent stood up, I suppose.
Well, like I said, Australia was the one for me, and they went, but it was in year 11 when they went in the end. So,
So do you reckon that dictated what night your club teams could train? Because you mentioned earlier you trained Wednesday, Saturday with your club team. That's unusual, mate, isn't it? It's the typical Tuesday, Thursdays usually, isn't it?
Oh, no, it wasn't. Sorry, it was Tuesday, Saturday we trained, and then we trained Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for Warrington. Right. And then Saturday we'd be in for Oxford. Okay. And then obviously we play on a Sunday. It was just every night. I don't like training. I still don't. Never liked training. I used to. If I could play every day, or I would have done. My body won't let me do that now. I think it's just let kids play, and same at football. Just let them enjoy it, and then because a lot of these kids they get sold the dream, and then they get let go at say 15, 16, and then they just give the sport up.
They spat out the system.
Yeah, then they lost them, and then So,
did you ever feel like giving up, John, or when it was getting a bit heavy like that?
Yeah, I did. I did about year 10 or 11. I gave it up for about 6. I don't know, probably not 6 months. But Warrington told me I had to go back to a club. Yeah. I gave it up and played football. Just with my schoolmates at Appleton Boys, just because I enjoyed football more than rugby. I was all right at football, but rugby was like I was good at it. Rugby, I didn't really enjoy it. Whereas football, enjoyed it because it was more of a challenge for me.
Yeah, and it's a shame because it's at like quite a key age as well, that mate, isn't it?
Yeah.
When things get decided and things,
Yeah.
Right. So if we go back a little bit, then, mate, you were consistently playing a high level then, so really right through school and club rugby, the standard wouldn't have been a lot different, I'm guessing, mate.
No, I was playing against the same lads, effectively, barring the National Cup if you got drawn against the Yorkshire side. Yeah, all the school stuff and the club stuff, you was against the same lads, like John Fisher was St Pat's. And then you had... not Cowley. We didn't play Cowley. I'm trying to think. The other one from St Helens was Cuthbert's. It was all Blackbrook, I think.
Yeah, they was in my age. They had Gary on, and Gary played for the Cuthbert's, Gary Wheeler.
Yeah.
But he said a lot of his team were footy players. But I think that's generally the consensus. So the Pats end up going to John Fisher, don't they?
Yeah.
And there's another school in Wigan that the Jude lads go to, but were the Judes good at your age?
No, Jude's would never had a good side. No. It was Pats and Cuthbert's, really. And then Cuthbert's would always lose the better players to Pats, but Jude's never did anything at our age.
Oh, right, okay. So was there any need for a trial process for the service area? Or was it service area when you played, John, or when you hit a certain age?
Yeah. So I think service area was straight after schoolboys for me. So I think we was like the first. Yeah. I'm sure it probably started then because before that at schoolboys, it went schoolboys under 13s as well, didn't it? But that didn't happen for me, so it straight into service area for like 5 years.
Right, mate. And was there any progression to county or national stuff for you, John, or did you get asked to go?
I got selected to go to the first regional camp in year 7, but was in Cyprus, and then I never got invited back again. So yeah, that was my me done really for me. Yeah.
Yeah. So no Puma moustache for you, mate. No.
No,
what it was, wasn't it? All the Puma.
Yeah, it's all Puma.
Yeah. So was rugby union ever an option for you, mate?
Yeah, played. Went to Bridgwater. They play both now, I think, but that was just union. Obviously, posh side of Warrington. They play kick and clap over that side. I went to South Africa in at the end of year 11, playing over there with the school, which is probably didn't appreciate it at the time, but looking back at it now, I think how lucky was I, and I loved it. Yeah.
Great opportunity, mate. So positional wise in rugby league, where would you have been playing, mate? Front row?
No. When I was at Warrington, I was sort of like a utility. Play centre, back row, loose, half back. I remember Dave Elliott saying to me, he said, "You need to get rid of your utility tag, do you no favours." So I thought, right, because I enjoyed playing centre the most, probably because a bit lazy, and you got to score a few tries. Man, I think Warrington wanted me to play hooker, but it was just before, like, we went to 2 hookers, so it was like he was 1 hooker, and I didn't want to play like second fiddle or not play, so I said, no, I don't want to play. And that sort of, because Dave had told me that in the back of my head, I thought, right, I need to nail the position down. Probably went against me, and I got released like just before my GCSEs. I just come home one day, ready to go training, and my mum said there's a letter for you there off Warrington. So, yeah.
All right, okay. So, what was it about, other than, which I doubt you are, but the laziness, what was it about? Did you like that one-on-one battle in the centres, mate? Did you? Because it can define a game, can't it, out there?
Yeah. Don't know. It was obviously you're scoring, and you still got your hands on the ball, I found. But the hooker thing, to me, it was, I thought, I don't have to get to every play of the ball and then do all the tackling, and I'd be gassed, and I thought, but then I played there the other year for Barrow, like out of like emergency. I really enjoyed it, and then I ended up having a few games there, and thought it's not too bad after all. I thought I wish I'd have bit my tongue back in the day and give it a proper crack. But hey.
So where does that ball handling talent come from? Did you play multiple sports growing up, Jono, or did you just solely dedicate yourself to rugby and football?
No, just I don't know what it is, because I've always been quite good with my hands, like passing and catching. And, that's all. Shite at golf. I thought you'd be all right if you got hand-eye coordination, but rugby and a bit of football, a bit of union mixed in there as well. Really, that's it.
Yeah. Positional wise in rugby union, mate, what ticked the box for you?
So I played all my school at fly half, mainly because I was one of the only ones that probably could catch and pass, and get the ball out. But I did when I went back playing open age of the year, I did inside centre a crack, and I enjoyed inside centre.
Yeah, I was going to say you're very much in the heartbeat of everything there, mate, aren't you? You're involved in everything at 12, really.
Yeah. I probably don't know the game.
Have you had to go at back row yet?
No. I'm probably not there technically in union to play in the pack. It is a very technical game. It's like chess, in it, I describe it as.
It's just hard at the back of the line out, mate, that's all. Right, so but growing up, did you enjoy playing it? Even though you were probably one of the few better players, did that ever frustrate you, or did you just always enjoy rugby regardless?
I enjoy. I've always enjoyed playing like rugby union. I can't really watch it. I find it very frustrating. But like I said, the team I played, the school team I played in, we had some really good players. Like Mike Cooper was my inside centre, so I played with him at Warrington. But then we had like proper union lads that of a good standing. We had one lad who was Irish. I think he went back to Ireland when he left school. He went into the Ulster system. So we had good players around me, and I enjoyed it. And like I said, it gave me a fantastic opportunity going to South Africa and seeing a bit of the world that I'd probably never see again. Well, as a 16-year-old, you don't really look at it like that. We went to Robben Island, and when Nelson Mandela was put in prison, and I had a right face on because I got seasick on the way over, and I said, "It's fucking shit, this." And I'd been over the water. So why couldn't you just put him in prison on land, but yeah.
So was there ever no one sniffing about union-wise to come and have a chat with you? Did you're on Warrington's doorstep, like you said, and they've had some good like coaches at Warrington and stuff. Never had a chat with you about heading down, mate? No.
Well, as a kid?
Yeah.
So they didn't have a youth section growing up. So they started the Colts when I left school. My mate's dad tried to get it up and going. But obviously, I was doing what I was doing in rugby league. I did start playing open age at 15 when I was still at school for the third team at Warrington. But there was no sort of, it was rugby league or football really in Warrington. When I was growing up, there was no sort of rugby union teams to play for.
But you might have had a mate if there was,
Yeah. Like I said, I enjoyed playing union. I just can't really watch it. Especially international games. Like I say, it's like chess. So, I always enjoyed it. I could have gone north of England. Kept tossing that off. There was trials to go, and never went to trials, and I made it through to the final stages, but without even going. And looking back now, I wish I'd give it a proper try, because you never know what could have happened.
Hindsight's nice, Jono, isn't it? It's
it is. That's probably one thing that, if I look back on, I'd probably, if I had another shot at it, I'd probably take union a bit more serious.
Right, mate. Well, the crossover's always there if it didn't work as well, isn't it? But again, it's like you said, it's hindsight and stuff like that, mate. So if we go back to school then, mate, and you're playing both courts, you're having a bit of a kick about what's the options leaving school? Did Warrington come back interested, or did you have to go down the working path?
So obviously I got released just before, like Foundation Academy, I think it was called, just before my GCSEs. So my dad was like, "What are you going to do?" So he said, "You need to get a job." So we applied for an apprenticeship in anything. Sent off like 75 letters. Got like 2 replies. One saying we don't take apprentices on, and then one off David Wilson saying come for an interview. So I went for an interview, and they said we only do joinery or bricklaying apprenticeship. So pick which one you want to interview for now. So I said bricklaying, and they went, "Why have you picked bricklaying?" I said I like Oz of Alfred Zaper, Jimmy Nail. So he's the only reason a bricklayer, because I used to watch Alfred Zaper and they'd be getting pissed on site. I thought, this is a bit of me, this. How wrong was I?
I know, it's a graft, isn't it?
Yeah.
So if I go back a little bit, how did you take the release? Is it something you took hard, or was you just going to work back at it and see where it got you?
Proper. It broke me really, because all I ever wanted to do was play Super League for Warrington. you know, when all my mates are going out on a Friday night, getting pissed and what have you. I never drank, you know, and tried to, you know, keep myself on the right path. And then just to get released by letter, I thought it was pretty shit.
Yeah.
And yeah, I took it pretty hard. My mum stopped going and watching Warrington because of it. I never went that far, but yeah, it's life, innit? I suppose. But I think, you know, I don't know if they do this. I don't know if they do it differently now. But as a kid, I think you just want to tell him face to face and why. You know, if there's an opportunity to be able to get back, rather than just say, I got told not tall enough play centre. That was in the letter, not tall enough play centre at Super League level. So,
right. Okay. Well, you're a kid, so you're not Super League level ready anyway, are you? But no, I agree with you. It's something they should pull you in for, isn't it? I think Gary probably would do that now. Only Gary Chambers is in charge, and we've got like Tykes there, Lee's there, so I think they'd do things different, mate, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I'd like to think so. I know Cham's a good bloke, so I'd like to think so.
Yeah. So the apprenticeship, mate, where did that leave the rugby? Was the okay with you playing rugby, and where did that path take you then?
I went back to Rylands then, amateur wise, because Latchford folded because like 8 of us went to South Warrington, so I left them in no like under 18s team. So they folded and went back to Rylands. Obviously working, playing open age on a Saturday and under 18s on a Sunday.
What was that? Like you said before, your body couldn't take 2 now, mate, could it? I found it easy. I'd go out on a Friday, have a few after work, play Saturday, go out Saturday, and play Sunday. Now I can't get out of bed if I've had a few pints. Never mind playing 2 games of rugby as well. Yeah. No, and what was the standard like when you went back after school, mate?
So when I first went, I was playing second team to start with. My first game was against the Marys. Got smacked about 56-0. They had a couple of Samoans, you know, Tongans. They absolutely drilled us.
Yeah.
But I loved it, you know, because I was playing against men, and you know, just really enjoyed the challenge. And then under 18s, we had a good. It was in the Prem. We had a decent side my first year 18s, but then the second year 18s we had a real good side and we won everything. North East Counties Cup beat Blackrock in the final, and then we had to play in 2 weeks running. After we played 3 weeks running in the final, and the last 2 league games, and the winner took all basically. We beat them, you know, all 3. We had a good side. But we got the Westmill knocked us out in the National Cup quarters, but all local wise, like North West, we were one of the best sides around.
Yeah, and when did the semi-pro game become an option for you, and how do you think you were noticed for that standard?
So I went. John Fieldhouse took me to Leigh East. So obviously John got the assistant coach at North Wales Crusaders when they reformed. They just dropped out of Super League. They started again in League One.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was all amateur lads they signed, barring a couple. I think they signed Danny Hume and Derbs. I think and the rest would all come from the amateur game. So yeah, he took me along with a couple of other lads from the East down to Crusaders. I didn't know whether I wanted to go though. I was meant to go to Jamaica with Barla 23s, so I wanted to go to Jamaica. My dad was like, "If you don't take this opportunity, you best find somewhere else to live." So I had signed for Crusaders.
Was you gutted though, really?
Yeah, I wanted to go to Jamaica, and then I could have gone Crusaders after Jamaica, but my dad wasn't having it. Like,
so with are you aware of your ability in the amateur game at that age, mate? Because when you talk about that tour, it is literally the best players in the country, mate, at that level, isn't it? That go.
Yeah.
So, are you aware of how good you are?
Yeah. I was probably a little twat as an 18-year-old at Rylands, you know, because I probably knew how good I was, and I'm probably a bit, I'm not saying arrogant, but a bit gobby, you know, full of myself, mellowed with age, but I knew it. I knew I was decent, you know. And went to what was it? So I went to Rochdale. I had a couple of lads signed from Rochdale, and Bobby was at Rochdale, Bobby Goulding, and a couple of lads said, "Get me down." I think Bobby had gone at the time. No, Darren Shaw was there. So I played some like under 23s at the time from Rochdale, and then got pulled in saying, "I want to sign you for next year, like first team." I thought, I was buzzing. And I didn't hear nothing for a few weeks. I went all quiet. I read League Express, and they'd gone into liquidation, Rochdale. And sort of like,
right.
I didn't hear anything. And so two of my mates were in Australia playing. So
they didn't even tell you the other way either?
No, they just, that was it,
right.
So two of my mates were in Australia. So I just said, any chance can I jump on a plane like and come? So I went as I just turned 20 and played a season over there.
Right. So before we chat about the Aussie thing, mate, what are when you're going into them meetings as a young lad, you know, regarding contracts and people want to speak to you, how is that? Is that a bit intimidating? Because that's the first time I imagine you see the business side of the sport, Jono.
At Crusaders,
so even at Crusaders, like,
so basically just got handed a contract. I think it was $250 a win, 80 quid a loss, and then that was it, you know, take it or leave it sort of thing. So
no negotiation, mate. No.
That's it. You take it or you don't. So there was no negotiations, like, and even since I've had agents, and I've had bad luck with them, really, because I've negotiated my deals like myself. Because at Crusaders one year, the old CEO, he wouldn't speak to agents, so I had to do it, and I still had to pay him. And then another time, what was the time? That was it. I spoke to Barrow, and Barrow rang me off the cuff and asked what Rochdale was offering. So I fucking told him. So the agent rang me and said, Barrow know what Rochdale has offered you. They're going to match it. I thought, for fuck's sake, Rochdale's in Warrington. Barrow's Barrow, but I wanted to go to Barrow. I was like, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So what? I don't want to know the monies, mate, because I'm not bothered about personal details. That's not being rude. It's no one's business. If you wanted to, that's fine. But what does it get nitty gritty when you talk with clubs, or is it basically this is what we're offering? There's no appearance stuff or try scoring bonuses or man the match bonuses or out like that.
No, there's say Barrow Barrow, you get your match fee, win or loss, and then you get an appearance bonus as well on top of that. Like Rochdale, you just got a flat fee, win or lose. It's the same, you know. Crusaders is win-loss, and then if you hit so many games, you know, you say every 5 games you get a bonus. and then every 10 games you get a bonus.
Yeah.
So
right.
Every club's sort of different in how they like to pay players. So Barrow was probably the best for money wise and what have you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they probably try and make it performance related more than anything, mate, don't they? I.e. renewals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously they try and top it up like you say with bonuses, and if we got promoted from League One, they had the survival bonus and stuff.
Yeah.
And what have you. So if you told your bonuses, like, you could top your money up. It was good.
Yeah.
A little incentive, really.
Yeah. So had you trialled for Bauer under 23s and everything and got through all the stages? And then you had to do, well, you didn't have to, but you chose to do that with Crusaders, or was it just a selection off the way you played for Rylands?
Yeah, so I'd been at Leigh East at the time. It was just, you just do the selections and, for watching the conference or what have you, because the Bala coaches, they usually coach at another team, in the conference, I think Kev Thompson, Fatawif, he was something to do with Fatawif, he was the coach at the time for Bala 23s. So, there was no selection there was no trial process. It was based on selection on, your club form, really.
Yeah. So how was the difference between conference with Leigh East to what you were doing with Rylands, mate? What are the key differences standard wise?
So commitment, because so local around there, for Rylands, North West counties, no travelling. You might have you'd have one trip to Barrow Island. We had 4 trips to Hull in 30 days for Leigh East. Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday. Catching up on games. And there's a big commitment. If you're paying subs and you got to go there, it's. I loved it, me. So opened my eyes a bit, to obviously a bit of a stepping stone to the next level. But when they changed it to summer, they just killed it.
Yeah. And did you see that, mate? Yeah, participation and that.
Just like lads, numbers just dwindled. Mrs. said we're going on holiday or whatever, or we're going to do something with the kids. In the winter, there's not much you can do, is there, really? Apart from be a hermit, So going out and having a game is not too bad, but in the summer it's a bit different. People have got weddings and that, and holidays are planned, and I just don't know why they did it, to be honest, but that's rugby league for you.
Right, and do you know when you go into them whole games, mate, regardless of whether it was summer or winter, what I found with people were unavailable for them coach journeys and that. Yeah. How was it in rugby league? Was it easier to get people to play in them coach journeys or harder?
So, at a Rylands level, like the North East counties, even though it would only be like one trip, you'd struggle for numbers, but then you'd get lads in that'll just come and play once a year, and it'd be Barrow Island every year, just because they'd want the coach trip on the way home. Where at Leigh East, there was never really that. There was never people not turning up on a match day, not going. It was, if you're in the team, you're going. It was quite the setup at Leigh East, and it was like professional. Like John, we used to do video sessions and that as an amateur, as an amateur club, and it was quite, quite professional setup how we had it.
And when would you know you were selected, mate? Would it be in the week?
Yeah, it'd be on the Thursday. You play on the Saturday, be the Thursday, because you train with your team. So if you were second team, you'd go and train with second team, you'd team one. First team, they'd team one themselves,
Right. And would Rylands have been like the Saturday dinner time when you've got there for meat? Because I didn't like that, mate, if I tell you the truth. I'd prefer, like, to know in the week.
Yeah, well, so you go in the clubhouse, 2 teams, and you wouldn't know until they read it out, you know. They write it down in the books, right, who's there, you know. Especially when I was younger, you know. And I wasn't guaranteed I'd be in the first team. And then I'd get read out and then, fucking hell, I'm like first team today. Got to go Folly Lane or what have you know. I like to know. I just like to know so you can prep, can't you, right? And, But I suppose at Rylands, the commitment wasn't there from everyone, so they had to, you know, pick accordingly. You know, who's here today? Right, he's here. Who's been out the night before, you know, not showing up, you know.
Who's hanging.
Yeah, you know, so.
So when you took that Crusaders opportunity, mate, how was it when you got there, and was it everything you wanted it to be? Was it what you expected?
I didn't really have any. Like, I wasn't, you know, I wasn't expecting it to be anything really, just because I think I'd got to that age where I thought I've missed the boat. So I was never really asked about going to that next level. I was happy at Leigh East and that, obviously, the rep opportunities on the back of that. And I was a bit gutted, obviously, that never happened. But, you know, they were all amateur lads that we went to Crusaders with. So I think that helped. And everyone's in the same boat. And, you know, we had a good pre-season, you know, playing like Rochdale. We turning Rochdale over. They'd play like half a team, you know, but, you know, I thought we're going to go all right this year. And we ran Barrow close. They'd just been relegated the year before. Like, I think Des Johnson, the chairman, he got done for something like match fixing or something like that. Or betting, you know, on the club. So they finished like in the playoffs that year, but they relegated them. And then we had them first game, we had them at our first ever game, and we were 22-0 up at half time. I thought, fucking hell, it's a piece of piss. This will be going up this year. We got beat 24-22. So we played Scholars. We played Scholars the week after away down in London, and I thought, well, we just almost beat a playoff team from the Championship. From London, get smacked every week. I thought, we're on for Wimpy, went down the night before, and I think they fucking put about 68 on us. We got absolutely towelled up. And that was a bit of an eye-opener. I thought it's not going to be all singing and dancing as I thought, like.
Yeah, I can imagine that. I was going to say, what's it like when you're behind your sticks, mate, when you're winning? And because you get a feel for momentum, Jono, don't you? And you know when you're sort of losing grasp of it. How's the chat when you're under the sticks when that's happening?
Sometimes it can be dead silent, you know, when everyone's just shell-shocked. And then there's other times and I'm just thinking to myself, shut the fuck up and just try and get out of this, you know. So I don't like it when everyone's chatting but they're not doing the job. I don't particularly like it. Just let your actions, you know, speak. So I try and keep talk to a minimal, really. Let your captain do the work.
Yeah. And when you were first, so position-wise at Leigh East, was you back to utility, or did you nail the position down, and where did you get signed at?
Well, it was back row, and then sometimes I'd cover centre as well, do a job in the centres for him. So, like I said, I enjoyed it. I didn't mind centre, and then I went to Crusaders and loose forward. I think I started playing loose at Crusaders first of all. And
the role of 13's changed, like, as we've grew up, mate, hasn't it? It's gone from a distributor to a carrier to a bit of both. So what were you signed to do? Were you given a free role in the 13 jersey, or was you
Yeah,
Was you? Yeah, you were allowed to play what you say.
Yeah, I was allowed to play. Yeah, but so like, go to the line and play out the back and be a link sometimes, which I enjoy. I do enjoy playing like a prop as well. If you need to get stuck in and what have you. But it gives your team another dimension. I think if you've got another ball playing, middle. I just think it's over here now. It's just gone so robotic. I don't think we should. I think we should just play our own stuff, and because you're never going to beat the Aussies at their own game, are you? So you need to come up with another way to play against them, because you're not going to be, the best robots in the world, are you? So I think we need to get our own identity back and play a bit of stuff. And it's more entertaining to watch as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and lads enjoy it more, don't they? Instead of just playing out the back for 3 sets and then finding a corner or whatever, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So how did that first spell at Crusaders go, Jono? And was it something you were happy that you took the chance on?
Yeah, so the first year was quite tough, but it was like a bedding in period, really, because we were all amateurs, really. Yeah. I think we won 5 or 6 games, but we had a couple of games on Premier Sports at the time, we all thought that was all new to us. We thought that was, great, And then the year after, we signed really well. We had some money. Crusaders at the time. We signed like Stu Maiden and what have you. And we got promoted that second year, which was quality. And, Benidorm at the end of the season was, promotion party.
A nice little bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I ask everyone this, mate. So, them big games, when they come along, how's the week for you building up to them? Because they're not just normal games, mate, are they? I know you've got to tell the paper that, or when you're on Premier Sports, you've got to say, it's on to next week. You're always as good as your last game, but they're not normal weeks, mate, are they?
No, so the year we got promoted, we'd gone through Oldham. It was between us and Oldham, really, for the automatic. Oldham had beat us, and we'd beat them once, but we went down to Hemel with about 6 games to go. Hemel beat us. And the chairman come in, and he said, right, whatever your match fees are, your next 2 games, there's this incentive, and then after that it goes up again. So you give us, extra motivation. Not that we needed it, but I think a bit of complacency probably drops into that Hemel game. We played London Scholars on Friday Night Lights before Wembley, second to last game of the season. We had an awful trip down. It was 6 hour, 7 hour, stuck in traffic, Mangoldie traffic, and we'd never got off the coach, and we were getting beat 8 at half time. But then we turned it around second half and we won. And the last game was South Wales at home. Obviously, we won that, but I'd try not to think about games, big games, or any games. I tend to find if I get nervous or thinking about it, I go out there and have a stinker. So I try and not think about it, and I'll still be dicking around in the changing room with 5 minutes to go, just because that helps me.
Yeah.
I don't want to set just thoughts in my head. So I just try and keep my mind occupied elsewhere, and then when I cross the line, then you switch on. But not everyone can do it like that. So
yeah. Did you need an early touch, Jono, or was you happy to bide your time and be patient when a game came on?
No, I'd need a touch, or a tackle.
Early.
Just, like I said, get you into the game. I really struggled at first when they started coming off the bench for a bit. I'd struggle to get into the game, and I struggle with the pace, to find the pace. I got better with that through time, but I always felt that as soon as I'm on, I needed to get a touch in that first set, first carry, and just get into it.
Yeah, an early involvement, mate.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And did the nerves? Did you get better at that as you got older as well, mate? A bit more experience and that.
So I struggle more now with nerves than I've ever done. Like I said, I didn't really used to get nervous. Probably nervous as a kid, maybe with finals. More so I thought if I had a shit game in a final, I'd get a bollocking off my dad when I wouldn't have. But that's what I thought. So I was more nervous about playing well for my dad than, for me or for my team. I never, so professionally wise, I never really struggled with nerves for the last 18 months or so. I just get nerves a few times now. And I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Maybe you just, I don't know. Maybe you might just appreciate the game a bit more, innit? Because we're a bit older now, aren't we? And anything can happen. You've seen that with COVID, mate, haven't you? And you just don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, like you said, it's a tough one to nail down. Yeah, it might be that thinking, is it going to be my last game today, or I don't know.
No, mate. Well, hopefully it's not. You've got a bit of mileage in the tank, haven't you? So when it comes to the back end of the Crusaders time, mate, what's that chat like? Is it a mutual decision or?
They went through a phase of they'd send contracts out to everyone, but in the post, so everyone got contracts at the same time, which I thought was quite a good idea. And I got mine through, and I wasn't really happy with it because I'd got player of the division the year before. The year we got promoted, I got player of the division, and they told me on the Tuesday before the awards was on the Friday or whenever it was, I need you to make a decision now before the awards dinner. And I didn't think anything of it, and I thought, so I signed, and then I fucking won the award. I thought, fucking hell, done myself out of some money there.
Do you reckon they knew?
I don't know. So I thought, for fuck's sake. So the year after, we got relegated, but I'd had a good season. I think they relegated 5 that year in 1 year. In any normal year would have stayed up, but because they relegated 5, we went down when they restructured all the leagues and what have you. And I just wasn't happy with it. And how the club was being run as well wasn't there was goings on. We was never paid on time. It was just a shit. The bloke Jamie was a charlatan. He was just, he was a crook basically. And I didn't want to leave, but I thought it's getting worse. So I was sort of like the first. Oh, they were all my mates because, like I said, it was like an amateur club, but we got paid. I don't mean that with. It was just like the lads were that close, and we'd all go out together. We still do, It's like a band of brothers sort of thing, If we was having if we was out, we was all out, and it was great. But I just had enough, so I agreed to go to Barrow, and then Killer rang me. Alan Killershaw, he just come off from Australia, and he said he'd got the Rochdale job. He wants to take me, and I was like, I've agreed to go to Barrow. And he said, they're training at Warrington. So I said, well, Crusaders have told me they're training.
Little sweeteners.
They're training at Warrington. And he said, no, we are. So I thought, well, Jamie at Crusaders just told lie after lie. So I thought, it might be true, this. So we asked the lads, and they said, no, we're training at Warrington. But it turned out Killer was telling the truth. So, I signed for similar money for Rochdale as what I'd agreed for Barrow, but obviously without the travel. So I went to Rochdale, yeah.
Right. Yeah. And all you're asking for, mate, is not only was it a bit of form, it was consistent form. So you were just asking for reward, mate, wasn't you? Match contract with form.
Well, that's it. I wasn't. Yeah, I don't. I knew what other people had been offered, and I thought, well, I don't want to be the highest, but I want to be in. My performances and that would have warranted it, and I've been there from the start. And I thought, well, they can say they're going to get me anyway. They might not pay because they've got no money. So, which turned out to be true in the end. So I made the right call getting out when I did, because I was sort of like the first, and then I think on the eve of the season, it all went belly up, and they had to get rid of a few. The rest had to take that pay cut. So if I'd have managed to get what I wanted, I'd have took a pay cut anyway.
Yeah, so you'd have been back to square one.
Yeah.
So what was it like when you got in at Rochdale, mate? Did it feel better? I know you were close with the lads, but did it feel a bit more secure? And did you think there was a platform there to kick on from?
It felt different. Obviously, they were all the mates, and it just felt, it just felt a bit strange at first. I went to Rochdale as well. I got an 8-game ban at the end of the season, so I obviously did pre-season, but then when they started playing pre-season games, I wasn't involved. So Killer let me go and play Rugby Union at Warrington for the off-season, just to keep me ticking over. I knew we had a good squad, but I think the bookies had us like for the 6th or 7th, odds. That year we got promoted. We beat Toulouse in the grand final in Toulouse. So,
right. Not a bad shout, mate, is it?
They'd gone the season unbeaten, Toulouse. They drew with us at Rochdale. But there was a bit of niggle there all the way through the season with Killer and the Toulouse club, and I didn't particularly like it. Yeah. And I think we'd went 3 weeks previous in the playoffs. Not the playoffs, the Super 8s it was called. And Barrow had to go in the last game of the season, or last game of the Super 8s. It was between us and Barrow, we finished second. So we had to beat Hunter and Doncaster the last 2 games after Toulouse. And then we'd go back there in the grand final. I thought it'd be better to throw a game against Hunter or Donny and send part-time lads in Barrow to Toulouse 2 weeks running, because we'd already beat Barrow that year. I thought we'll just go to Barrow and play Barrow when they get beat off Toulouse in Barrow, but it didn't turn out like that. We could play that game 99 times and we wouldn't have beaten Toulouse. I do not know how we beat them.
Yeah. One of them days.
It was 16-0 down inside 15 minutes. Come back and won. And I was on one leg, fucking ruptured my PCL the week before. It was just one of them days. Like, it's a good job we won, because we wouldn't have beat Barrow the week after, because we were busted up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So can we go back a little bit then, mate? So you talk about that ban.
Yeah.
How's it when you go in a disciplinary, mate? Did he like talk down to you, look down to you? Did he treat you normally? How is it?
It's horrible. So you walk into Red Hall and they've got this massive like oak table, like 30 foot long. You walk in and they're at the far end, they've got big TV up on the left as you walk in, or big projector. And they'll have a judge in the middle, and then they've got 2 ex-players either side of him. And then they've got someone reading out, he's broke operational rules 17.2, and it's like a prop like you. I've never been in court, but I can imagine that's what it's like in court. You know,
you'd imagine it's like, yeah,
it's like you've murdered someone when you're in there, and I'm uffing and puffing, you know, because I want to try and get my point across, but you're not allowed to say anything, and then they give you an opportunity at the end to say, have you got anything to add, sort of thing.
All right, okay. So right throughout it, you've just got to be told what the crack is, and then I imagine they'll show you your incident on the screen or whatever, and then you get like a little 10 minutes at the end.
So mine was a bit different the first time. I got done for homophobic abuse. I went to watch Warrington at Leeds, and I was calling the ref, whatever. And there was a touch judge stood in front of me, and he reported me, so there was none of that, like, video evidence. As you would be.
He knew who you was, yeah.
Yeah, he knew who I was, because obviously he was a touch judge. So that there was like, there was none of that sort of thing. But when you go in there normally for a normal ban, that's what happens, yeah. So, and they'll be slowing down all these the video evidence with all different camera angles. They're slowing it right down, and you go in there knowing you're innocent, and then you start doubting yourself, thinking, am I guilty here? Like there was one time, played at Blackpool Bash, I broke a lad's leg by accident. And Paul Crary rang me in the week. He said, I've got some good news and some bad news. I said, go on then. Here's the good news first. He said, we want to keep you for next year. I said, what's the bad news then? He said, they'll give you a grade D, which is 5 to 8 games, I think it was. I said, what for? They said, use of the knees. And there wasn't. I thought, for fuck's sake. So getting the game up on Sky Sports, you know, the highlights and all that, on Sky. I thought, fucking he's watching. What's Paul Cullen watching? So I had to go to Red Hall. I was looking at 5 to 8, and I walked out with no games because it was an accident, they said. So I thought, walked to the back of the room, opened the door, and I said, who was it who cited me? Who watched my game and said it's a great day. I said, was it that twat Cullen? I said, we're not privy to tell you that. We're not privy to tell you that.
Yeah, so it's pretty serious then, mate, isn't it? I think people don't get that, do they?
No, but the thing is, they've got like ex-players on there, like, and you're thinking,
not as bad as you when they played.
Like Stuart Fielder, you know, he was always offering people out, and then, you know, Willie Mason knocked him out, and he never did it again. Like, but you know, how can people like Paul Cullen, head of it, he was the dirtiest player going, and you know, and he's trying to tell people now this and that. I'm thinking, a bunch of hypocrites.
Yeah, no, I get that. It must be frustrating, mate. So what's it like when you're going over to Toulouse, mate? What's the logistic plan of that? Do you just fly out last minute, and what are your digs like when you get there and that?
So done it a few times. Usually you'd fly out on the Friday if you're playing Saturday evening. Well, we used to. It'd be Friday, play Saturday night out, home Sunday. But they used to, so you'd fly into the Flues from Manchester, but then Sunday you'd fly out of an airport called like Limoges. It was like, it's slap bang in the centre of France, 4 hours away. And then you might be flying into like Leeds, Bradford. And obviously, it's such the cheapest way. We used to stay in Novotel, but we got, Rochdale, when we went to Rochdale, we got banned from there. So we had to stay in a sporting complex after that. That was a good night out. I'm not a particular fan of France. I don't particularly like going to Toulouse. We've flown Friday for the grand final. We flew in. No, grand final. Sorry. We trained on the Thursday at Warrington. We had to get a bus down to Gatwick Thursday night. We flew Friday. We had captain's run on the Friday, and then we played Saturday night, and we flew straight home after the game on the Saturday. Which is that
because the RFL have organised it?
I don't know what it. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was a grand final or what have you. What happened? Like, we'd had a bit of trouble like 3 weeks previous, so I don't know whether that was took into account. But the same with Toronto. The first year we went to Toronto, did about 5 days out there. I didn't really want to go, and I went. Absolutely loved it. And then the second time we went, the World Cup was on the first time. Honestly, it was like a stag do. It was great. And the second time we went the week after at Wembley. So we played Sheffield the week before Wembley. And I'd been put on report, and I knew it looked like a bad tackle. And I've got my head in hands at half time. We're winning. Paul's coming and going, "What's up, Jono?" said, because if you get put on report, you can play the week after. It's the week after next you get done for. Well, the week after was Challenge Cup, so I'd been missing the next game. I said, "I can't go to Toronto. I'll be banned." And he went, "You won't." And I said, "I will." I said, "If I get banned, can I still come?" He went, "Of course you can." So that's what happened. I got banned, and I still went. But we flew that time. We flew on the Thursday afternoon. We played Saturday afternoon, and we flew home Saturday evening straight away.
It's a big ask, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not right, really. But it was great. It's great over there, and I think bloody shame what's happened. Because there were genuine fans there that loved the game. They'd never seen it before. Toronto would. And just that's another COVID, isn't it? Going into all that.
Yeah. Well, like you said, they're getting 5-figure fans there every week, mate, and that's just in their local league. So imagine what it'd be like if they were still in Super League or the Jam.
I know the interest there. You just need, they should have been looked after, really, because obviously all the Super League clubs over here, they were looked after. I know not by the RFL, but they all had loans from the government, covering the players' wages and that.
Yeah.
Toronto was sort of left to fend for themselves, and obviously the players didn't get the wages. But I do think they should have been helped out, I think, really, because it was the best experience I've had in rugby league going over there.
Yeah. And like you said, considering you thought maybe the board had set a sail, like you've managed some great experiences, mate, so far, what we've talked about, haven't you? And
well, yeah, it's all free as well.
That helps. So when did the Barra move happen, mate? Was that before Rochdale or after Rochdale?
No, so I'd agreed to go to Barrow before Rochdale, but then obviously I went to Rochdale. But then I'd had 2 years at Rochdale, and the second year, I'd done my knee at the back end of the first year. So obviously we wanted to lose. And because we won, sort of just got left. Come back from pre-season, my knees can't run. So they're just rehabbing it with me. They wouldn't get me an MRI scan. So I got an MRI scan on the back, on the own back of the NHS. And in the meantime, I've rehabbed it. I'm back playing, but to start with, sometimes when I'd tackle someone, I'd get a shudder through my body, and the pain would go to my knee, and then I couldn't walk again. And then I got through that, and I was back playing regularly. And then when scan date come through, and it was a Saturday at Halton, I thought, they were playing in Toulouse on that Saturday. I thought, he's going to fucking flip a lid here because he'll think I'm just pulling his leg. So I told him I'm not going. And we'd had a few dropouts, and I said, no, I want to know what I've done to me, because you've not, club won't get me an MRI, so I want to know. So turned out like I'd ruptured my PCL, and I'd got a cyst on my meniscus. So, but that was like sort of the breakdown of like, I still played like every week after that. But then like other lads were getting like contract offers. And I was like, not getting spoken to about one. And then I went to Australia for the Ashes and the World Cup in 2017. And I got an email off the club. Basically, he'd offered me a contract, but knowing I wasn't going to accept it. So that's when I went to Barrow.
Right. And I've totally gone past it because of how you've climbed the ladder, but did you do that spell in Australia as a young lad, did you?
Yeah, 2009 I was over there. Yeah. A place called Gympie. It's about 2 hours north of Brisbane. So two of the lads was already going over from Warrington. And one of the lads had played with the first team coach was Darren Burns. He used to play for Warrington. So there's a sort of connection there with one of the lads who played with him like at one of the friendlies. Like, so we just went over there, and there was nothing like where we was quite remote. I always say their towns are like our villages, really. So I was in quite a populated town, but it was like, it was small for me, and they say, well, Brisbane's only down the road. Down the road for an Aussie, it's not down the road for a Pog. It's like from here to Birmingham. It's from like here to Birmingham away. I don't pop Birmingham every other day, you know what I mean? It's a different way of life over there. Absolutely loved it. And like going back to when I went to South Africa, I was probably a bit young to really appreciate like what an experience and opportunity it was. Because I just turned 20 when I went with no money. Did no sort of research on where I was staying. It was just hearsay, and I just probably went to the wrong part of Australia. If I'd have gone somewhere a bit more happening, I think I might have probably stayed. But as it turned out, because I did all my work was cash in hand, so I didn't pay any tax, so I couldn't. But because where I was living, if I'd have paid tax, I could have got my second year visa because it was classed as a rural area, so it would have been farm work. But I'd been I never did, which I should have done really. But as a 20-year-old, you're not thinking like that. And, you just going on the pissing all the time and spending all your money.
Hindsight again, Jono, isn't it?
That's it. So I was concreting over there at the time. I was like pouring concrete slabs in like farmers' fields. So they have more rain over there than they. We moan about the weather there, but they have proper seasons, don't they? So if it rained for a day over there, I'd have like a week off work because the wagons couldn't get to where we were pouring the slabs. I just thought, I've got no money. I've got enough to get by, but I'm having to stay in. Overnight and what have you. And I thought, the two lads had gone home. I'd just finished the season. I thought, I can do this at home, and I've got my family around me and my mates. And so I came home at the end of the season. And I was back about a week or two, and I thought, what the fuck's I done? Should have gone back. But
what was the standard of rugby like, mate?
Yeah, real good. So that was like obviously before Leigh East and that. But that was a massive jump from North West counties, and the standard over there, everyone gets paid for it. Like even the piss cans, you know, with the reserves, they're getting beer tokens, you know, after they've played. It's just a different. It's just different. It's mental, and just getting flogged, and it was so hard the training. It was -5, and I left on like the 17th of Jan. And they had the heat. They was having a heat wave when I landed. It was 40 degrees. The Melbourne Open was on, and they didn't have a roof on the stadium at the time. I remember watching it, and they'd have to stop the games during the day and play through the night because it was that hot, you know. And we turned up to training, and they were going, "Jono, why are you sweating?" We had like a blue top on, it'd be dark blue time we got to training. And I've just gone from -5, fucking 36 degrees at 6 at night. Humidity's like 88%. It was mental.
And before the bad knee injury you had at Rochdale, mate, how had you been with injuries?
So I've been, obviously, I broke my cheekbone a couple of times, but other than that, I've been fine. And then it was only up until COVID come. Body thought, oh, retired. I'm in retirement now. And since COVID, and just
rest more.
Getting shit injuries. I've got arthritis in my elbow, ankle, and just getting shit niggles all the time now.
Right. So when you done your knee, mate, with it being like debilitating, basically, isn't it? It affects you every day, like normal life. How was that? Did you take it well mentally, or did you struggle a little bit?
So your PCL is a bit different to like your ACL. You can get by without a PCL, which is what the specialist said at Wigan that I seen. So, and it takes longer to come back from as well than an ACL. So I don't think they like doing it because it's 12 months plus coming back from it. I think Sam's had the same injury, Tompkins, but he had it operated on. But like at first, a bit work just carrying bricks, the knee buckle and give way. Thinking, for fuck's sake. And then the other times where I don't feel it, I forgot about it, I've jumped off the scaffold or whatever, and my knee's gone again. I'm thinking, But it was never, you know, it never stopped me playing because it was off season really. And then obviously I got coming back for that, I got a second 8 ban with a back-to-back season. So I probably would have missed the start of the season anyway with the injury. But I got my second ban on the back of that grand final in France, calling the French frogs and what have you.
So another one that I've bypassed, you've hit some markers, mate, and we're not done yet, obviously, but are you someone that keeps stash or memorabilia, mate, or are you not bothered about that sort of stuff?
No, so my mum likes, I don't know if she still does, she used to do all the newspaper cuttings and what have you. I'm not really fussed about that. I'm not fussed about that, but I do like keeping my shirts. So if someone says, "Oh, have you got a shirt?" I don't really like giving it because I like them for myself. So I've got like all my Barla shirts and what have you, Australia shirts. And when she lets me build a bar at the back of the house, she won't let me put shirts up in the house. So I've got a decent stash of like gear I've bought from like auctions and what have you. But my rugby shirts will be going up as well. Just memories, isn't it?
Nice.
I like all that. And probably, like my mum keeping the clippings would probably be nice to put in a frame, I suppose, and put them up with the shirts, I imagine.
Yeah, no, it'll look boss, that though, mate. It'll look good. So the Barra move then, so despite verbally agreeing and then signing for Rochdale, was the relationship still pretty good there, mate? Good enough for him to come back for you, wasn't it? So
yeah. So like obviously, I'd agreed at Barrow, and then so it was mates with John Fieldhouse, Paul Crary. So I had that sort of mutual go-between,
connection.
Because I used to be involved in Barland and that back in the day, Cresta. So I told John that I'm signing for Rochdale. He said, just give Paul a ring, and tell him, don't let him find out, So anyway, he didn't answer, so I just left him a voicemail. And I didn't really hear it off him. And then a few of my mates went to Barrow from Crusaders, like JB Dallimore, Kyle Ashall, on the back of what had happened at Crusaders. So I sort of then had friends there. And that was... He did actually, Dally text me saying, while I was in Toulouse on the grand final, he said, I think Liam Harrison's retiring next year. Paul wants you to come to Barrow. And I said, literally just signed again for Rochdale to the year after. So I was sort of always in contact with Barrow. And then, so I didn't speak to anyone else when I left Rochdale. I wanted to go to Barrow just because I did good things, and you get paid weekly as well at Barrow, which is a bonus.
Right, and plus, long-standing interest sort of outshines a little recent flurry, doesn't it? He's been there or thereabouts with you for a long time. Yeah. So how did the spell at Barrow go, Jono, and what was it about up there? Because it seems like he's a good rugby man. He's turned him around, hasn't he?
Yeah. We went in, when I went in, they'd just been promoted. We just stayed up with Rochdale, and Barrow had just been promoted. Along with Toronto. When I went in, I think there was a bit of trouble with money with Barrow. And Barrow have always sort of paid well, really. Obviously you get paid more, I think, because you travel and what have you. But we went in and got told there was a bit money issues, and then Steve Neal came on board then. He's the CEO there now. He's turned it right around for him. And he's doing great things up there. But yeah, it was. I think our start was away at London, first game of the season, full-time team. And then Toronto at home. Another full-time we drew with Toronto 8-8. But then I got dropped then for about a month after that. He said it wasn't fit enough. I probably wasn't, but I soaked a bit. I was ill. I got a chest infection, and that just delayed me. And never really got going at Barrow until about Easter, when we had a Challenge Cup game, played well. I got back in that way, but I was trying to get a loan to Crusaders at the time, because I just thought, I just want to play. I don't want to be travelling up to Barrow 3 times a week if I'm not playing. So I'd just like to go and, play. And anyway, I was going to ask that question. If I didn't play the weekend I played, can I go out on loan? But I played, snatched me opportunity, and never looked back there then. We stayed up that year, which was massive for the club. And the year after we went down, which was tough to take. It's never nice getting relegated. It's all well and good get promoted, but that feeling of relegation is horrible.
Yeah. And when you said you got dropped there, mate, was that the first spell in your career, really, where you'd been challenged?
First ever time I'd not played. And I fucking hated it. And and then look at, and he always says, he said I made you a better person, Jono, and a better player. You come back. But he probably did, and probably kick up the arse.
You weren't how you felt.
Probably kick up the arse I did need, but it wasn't nice, because I never got told. I never got told, like, I always thought, right, I'll be back in this week, and then I wouldn't be, but I wouldn't get told why, or I wouldn't get told I'm getting nearer to getting back into the mix. And then, he just said, "Oh, you get your chance next week in the Challenge Cup." So the week before, so that was that.
Yeah, and what brought an end to that spell, mate? And where was next?
COVID.
Yeah.
So we got relegated, but I loved it at Barrow. Honestly, barring the travel, it's such a good club. The people up there are, fantastic, salt of the earth. But obviously, stopped going with COVID, and because I've had such a long time off with it, I just thought I can't do it. I mean, leaving work at 6:30 in the morning. And sometimes, like, the testers turned up at Barrow and had done me. I wasn't getting in till 1 o'clock in the morning sometimes. And I thought, can't be arsed with that anymore.
It's a big ask.
Yeah, well, once I stopped doing it, I just couldn't find it in me to get back up there. And, it was great because I had the minibus. So it wasn't costing us, there's a good bus of us going up, like 8 of us from Wigan, Haydock. Like I said, really enjoyed it, but just couldn't commit to the time and effort needed to get up there. So I went back to Crusaders. I thought I'll finish where I started, but it's never really... My second spell's never really got going there. I think I've played 11 games in 2 years since I've been back. Just like one thing after another. Like, broke my fingers, broke my hand last year. So, as a brickie, I'm out of work for 2 spells there over the last 2 years. And then I get to a point where I think I can't afford any more time off work, so I can't afford to go back playing. And it happens again because my insurance won't cover me, because I've got to allow it like 12 months before I can. I thought I just can't afford to go back playing until it's right. So that's why the last 2 years I've got injured like in the summer, and I just knocked it on the end. Until the following season.
Right. And if you don't mind, mate, it's something I've not asked anyone, I don't know why, but what's entailed when it comes to a drug testing? Is it random? Yeah.
It used to be random, but it's not now. It's target testing. So they'll turn up, the testers, and there'll be a few of them, and then they'll go. Each club has to keep a register at training. So they'll go to ask you the register, who's there and what have you. And then it like on a match day, it's 2 of you get pulled and 2 from the other team. At training, it can be 4 up to whatever. It depends how many testers are there. So then they pull you in. You have to go and show them some ID that it's you. Sit you down in a room. Right, this is what we're doing. Need to take a urine sample, and then they'll give you a pot. And they come to the toilet with you, watch what you're doing.
Did he?
Yeah, you can start, and then like the first time I ever got done was after a game, and I couldn't piss. You have to piss 90 ml sample. I give, I think, 45 ml. So because I'd give a partial, they let me go. So when they said you can go get changed. So tester came in the change rooms with me and then watched me have a shower. then I went back and give the sample. But at Barrow, I got done like 5 times in one season at Barrow. It was pissing me off because I drink quite a lot of water. So if your piss is too diluted, it won't read on the reading machine. So I think I did 3 samples.
Even though you provided, Jono?
So yeah, so what happens is if you provide, they said to me, if this next sample isn't strong enough, we have to let you go, because I can't remember if it's 3 or 4 hours after the first sample you give. They can't keep you longer than 3 or 4 hours after, because you've given the sample. It's just it's not strong enough. So yeah, they turned up to Barrow midweek, and I just put them in notes one time. I said, just come to the house. I said, I live 100 miles away from Barrow. I said, just come to the house and don't test me. Don't. I said, look, because I said it can't be fucking random this anymore. It's always the same lads getting pulled. They went, it's not. So we get to the ground, we get the register, we ring the RFL and say who to test. I don't know why they test me. I'm just fucking full of Frey Bentos and ale, mate.
Yeah, but they can't ban you because your piss ain't strong enough, though, can they?
No, because I give them the sample. So, but my samples have obviously I've waited out that long that before sample was strong enough. I've been done a time. I was at David DW at Barrow, and they turned up. We'd only done yoga before. Great, nice easy session yoga and a swim. And we're coming out of yoga, and they went, testers are there for fuck's sake. I got pulled, and that same thing happened there. I give 2 samples, not strong enough, and then the gym shut at 10 o'clock. So they had to let me go then. But then that was the year I kept getting done. So I don't know whether I was getting done because my piss was that diluted. I don't know whether he thought, is he trying to, beat the system or
hide something. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got done like 5. I've been done once away from Barrow, and then the season I went to Barrow, I got done 5 times in one year.
Do you reckon someone could be spouting a bit of rubbish and then they'll spot test you like every other month or something?
Well, it could be, yeah. It's, I think a lot of it is now hearsay and like I say, target testing. Someone might get done for something. People talk. I don't know if they get paid now, for grassing or a reward for dogging people in. But like I said, I'm only full of Frey Bentos, so. Frey Bentos and Lair Pack.
Hey, you're bragging there at the bottom of that.
Lair Pack now, isn't it? Now with the cost of living crisis.
So, once the semi-pro games done for you, mate, would maybe a rugby union spell to finish it off do you well, or are you done proper then?
I'd like to think my mate was trying to get me down to Warrington. But I just don't know if my body now. It's all right now. I'm getting paid, but I don't know if I could justify paying subs and then run the risk of getting injured. If I worked in an office, I had an office job, I could justify carrying on, because an injury to my hand or whatever, or your knee, it wouldn't stop me going to work, would it? But
no.
I always thought Masters 35s get me on that Dubai tour every year. But I don't think they do that anymore, do they?
Golden shots.
But that's me, that Dubai every year, every November. But I don't think they do anymore. So the
rugby union side do it,
Do they?
Yeah, there's a rugby union side that do it. Yeah, Paul Arnold goes Bermuda Sevens or something like that. It is. It's a box tick for you, mate. You've not been Bermuda, have you?
Is that where that's where everyone goes missing, isn't it? Bermuda Triangle.
No, yeah, the triangle.
Yeah, he'll never come back.
So, listen, mate, I wish you all the best, and hopefully you get a few more game time. But I've got a few daft questions for you before I let you go, mate, if that's all right.
Yeah, no worries.
So, any pre-match superstitions?
No, like I said before, just try not to think of it. I just dick around, really. There's no superstitions like that, no.
Right, mate. So the toughest player you played with and against, but tough is different for everybody, isn't it? The version tough.
Well, the same player will be for Gaz Middelhurst is the toughest player I've come across, and he's just one horrible, horrible man. I used to play with Gary.
Overstayed his visa as well.
Like, I know, yeah. I used to play when Gary played for the Simmies. I'd be like 17, 18 from Rylands, and we both play loose forwards, and we used to hate each other. And now he's one of my best mates now. He's a
baller, Gaz, isn't he?
Yeah, like that's what you mean. Like you say, tough. It's different for everyone. He just doesn't care about his body. He won't think twice about putting his body on the line for you, or he's mentally tough, and he's horrible. He's a top lad, so he's toughest both for and against.
Right, mate. So your favourite away ground that you've played at?
Played at the KC against Hull.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd probably say that. Yeah.
Like the newer grounds, Jono.
Well, I've never other than played at Casson and Wakefield and that. I never got the chance to play at Headingley, which I wish I did, because everyone says about Headingley. But yeah,
mate. Yeah.
I like Wigan as well, but I like Wigan as a fan. But I don't know if that's because I've gone with Warrington. The ground's full, because I see a lot of people saying it's shit, Wigan.
Yeah.
It's good for me because I go to local derby, and I've played on Wigan as well. That's why Logan Tompkins done me cheap on there, the bastard. But I quite like the new stadium, like Saints as well. That's some of the good in play that.
Yeah, well, we were meant to play there as kids, like we were talking about service area before. We got chuffed because you pull up on the car park and they went, "Oh, you're in the soccer dome."
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was bro, mate, like under 30s there, gutted. So, you go to karaoke song, mate, if you're out with the lads and the microphones in your hand, what you giving us?
I like Dead Ringer for Love, Meatloaf. Or even that.
If you could go back and sell
Penny Arcade as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a few in the locker, mate.
Well, I can't sing, but a couple of L's inside me, and can't get me off it then.
So if you could go back and tell your younger self something, mate, from what you've learned, what would it be?
Defo, look after your body. Just do little things, away from the game, and eat right, and just I'm feeling it now, like feel every day of it. I'm 34 now. I feel every day of it. Like I said, I've got arthritis in my trowel and in my left ankle, and just shit things like you take for granted. Like I remember playing as a 16-year-old. Some lads would say, "I'm not playing arthritis." I think arthritis, it's not even real. What is it? Because I didn't know. It's crippling. And that's what. Just look after yourself, because you only got one body, haven't you?
No, you have, mate. Yeah. So I understand if you can't, mate, because I've sort of put it on you. But if you can name a 1 to 13 that you've played with, that'd be good if you can, mate.
Yeah. Luke Creswell, fullback from Barrow. Tough back. Yeah. Tommy played with Tommy Johnson as well. Tommy's quality fullback. I'd go with Luke Creswell. He's just unbelievable, dead safe. real nice lad as well. I think if he lived in the Northwest, or I think he might have been playing Super League, if he'd have been in the system at one of the clubs. He's a real quality fullback. Yeah. And then you've got on the wings, I'd go with Rob Masson. He's just a freak. And I'd go with Kev Penny, played with Kev on dual reg. And the quality Kev, he gets a lot of like bad raps, like the Super League days, Yeah. And he hit his height straight away, didn't he? And then the fall was massive when.
Yeah.
But playing at our level, he was brilliant. Centres, went with Stu Reardon and Darren Burns. Burns, he played like back row, but I had to get him in the centres really because the back rows have got 6 or 7. Andy Mosdale, one of my good mates. He's the boss now at Crusaders, so I put him in. And, Danny Kilshaw from Leigh East, he was like on another level. And he could have played Super League, but he just didn't want it. He was fantastic though. He could play 9 as well, just as well as 7. But he was a brilliant player. Front row, I'd go Alex Asino, Aussie lad that I played with at Barrow. He came through I think the Penrith juniors. I think he was in the Italy squad for the World Cup. He was just a proper tough Australian front rower. And Ben Moores at Hooker, played with at Rochdale. Just a tidy 9. Get you around the park.
What do you want from your 9, Jono, at 13?
I want. So, if I ask for the ball, I want it. Like, I won't shout for the ball just for shouting. So if I see something, down an edge, I want the hooker just to, because something's on. I get frustrated when
Not to jump though. You want it straight to your hand.
No, he could jump down my side. I like it if he jumps. I can nip behind the markers, but. I just like a hooker that'll listen, and is not afraid to. If we've got structures and sets we need to play. Well, if it's not on and it's on down the fuck your structure off and go and play what you see. A lot of that it keeps in now because everyone wants to play to a structure and get in the grind, but play what you see. I think, and like I say, it's more entertaining to watch.
Sorry, mate. I just wondered whether what you're seeing, what you wanted, like,
where was that? Was it wrote it down? Yeah. Josh Johnson was your
prop.
Josh Johnson, I played with him at Barrow. And he only played a few months with us and then Salford snapped him up. He went back to Super League. But he was just tough. Big minutes. And, decent lad. He's just left with us now, hasn't he? So, he's gone to Bradford.
He has, mate, yeah.
And then back row was Jared Stack. Aussie lad from Barrow. He war awesome. Unbelievable player. Top player, top man as well. Lovely man. And then got Steve Wild on the other side. And then, obviously, he played Great Britain and what have you, and, speaks for himself what he's done in the game. And then at loose is Gaz Midlurst. So,